Dolphins are about to get a lot weirder than you ever imagined. What you're about to discover will completely shatter everything you thought you knew about these ocean icons. Dolphins are praised as intelligent, friendly creatures, but beneath that playful exterior lies behavior so weird, so unexpected, that scientists themselves were shocked when they first observed it. We're not talking about cute tricks or impressive jumps. We're diving into the truly bizarre habits that prove dolphins are way more complex and, frankly, weirder than anyone imagined. From intentional drugging to creating names for themselves, these 5 documented behaviors will blow your mind. Dolphins have captivated humans for thousands of years. Ancient Greeks considered them sacred. Modern science has revealed their remarkable intelligence in complex social lives. But only recently have researchers uncovered behaviors that push the boundaries of what we thought possible in the animal kingdom. These aren't myths or sailor stories. Every single fact you are about to hear has been observed and documented by marine biologists. What makes these behaviors so fascinating is that they reveal cognitive abilities we once thought were uniquely human. The 5 behaviors we're covering today range from clever to shocking to downright mind-blowing. Some show problem-solving skills that rival primates. Others reveal a social complexity that makes dolphin pods look more like underwater civilizations. And one behavior in particular has sparked serious ethical debates among researchers about animal consciousness and recreational substance use. Yes, you heard that right. Let's start with perhaps the most controversial discovery in recent dolphin research. In 2013, a BBC film crew captured something absolutely wild while filming dolphins off the coast of South Africa. They watched as young dolphins carefully chased down pufferfish, handled them gently, and then passed them around like they were sharing something valuable. But here's where it gets truly bizarre. The dolphins weren't eating the pufferfish. They were deliberately provoking them to release small amounts of toxin, then entering what can only be described as a trance-like state. They hung motionless near the surface, seemingly mesmerized by their own reflections, clearly experiencing some kind of altered consciousness. This wasn't random behavior. The dolphins showed careful technique. Too much provocation and the pufferfish releases a lethal dose. Too little and nothing happens. The dolphins had learned the exact amount needed to get the desired effect without poisoning themselves. Even more fascinating, this behavior appears to be passed down through dolphin groups, suggesting it's a learned cultural practice. Young dolphins watch older ones perform this ritual and copy the technique. Marine biologists were stunned because this represented intentional recreational drug use in wild animals. Sure, animals occasionally eat fermented fruits and get tipsy, but this was different. This was purposeful, controlled, and social. The dolphins filmed were adolescents, which makes the parallel to human teenagers even more striking. After their pufferfish sessions, the dolphins would gather in a circle at the surface, apparently enjoying their group experience together. One researcher described it as like observing teenagers at a party, which is both hilarious and slightly disturbing when you think about it. Each dolphin creates a unique signature whistle within their first year of life, and this whistle functions exactly like a name. When a dolphin wants to get another specific dolphin's attention, it produces that dolphin's signature whistle, and that dolphin responds. Scientists at the University of St. Andrews proved this by recording dolphins' signature whistles, playing them back through underwater speakers, and watching the dolphins react specifically when they heard their own whistle. They'd swim toward the speaker and respond with their own whistle. But it gets even cooler. Dolphins remember and use the names of dolphins they haven't seen in over 20 years. In one experiment, researchers played signature whistles of dolphins that had been separated from their pod for 2 decades. The dolphins immediately perked up, swam toward the speakers, and responded enthusiastically, proving they remembered their old friends' names across massive time spans. This kind of long-term social memory is extremely rare in the animal kingdom. Mother dolphins teach their calves their signature whistles, and calves practice for months before settling on their final version. Scientists have also observed dolphins combining signature whistles in sequence, which might represent something like sentences or more complex communication. When 2 allied male dolphins are hunting together, they'll often exchange signature whistles in a back-and-forth pattern that researchers believe coordinates their actions. What makes this discovery so profound is what it implies about dolphin consciousness. Having a name requires a sense of individual identity, an understanding that you exist as a distinct being separate from others. Philosophers have long argued that self-awareness and identity are hallmarks of higher consciousness. Dolphins don't just pass this test, they've been passing it for millions of years. Tool use was once considered the defining characteristic of human intelligence. But dolphins in Shark Bay, Australia, have taken tool use to a whole new level underwater. Certain dolphins, primarily females, have learned to tear off marine sponges from the ocean floor, wear them on their snouts like protective gloves, and use them to probe the sandy bottom for hidden fish. This isn't random playing around. This is sophisticated tool use that requires planning, learning, and problem solving. The dolphins that use sponges spend significantly more time foraging in deeper waters, where the sand hides fish, but also conceals sharp rocks and stinging creatures. Without the sponge protection, their sensitive snouts would get torn up constantly. By using the sponge as a tool, they can access food sources that other dolphins simply can't safely reach. Scientists have documented that sponge-using dolphins have different diets than non-spongers in the same area. They're accessing an entirely different ecological niche using technology. The really mind-blowing part is how this knowledge spreads. Dolphin mothers teach their daughters the sponging technique, and it passes down through maternal lines. This represents cultural transmission of knowledge, something extremely rare outside of human societies and great apes. Recent research has expanded our understanding even further. Besides sponges, some dolphins have learned to use shells to scoop up fish, then bring the shells to the surface and shake them like catching fish in a net. What we're seeing is the evolution of dolphin culture in real time. Every mammal needs sleep, but dolphins face a unique problem. They're conscious breathers, meaning they have to actively decide to surface and breathe. If a dolphin fell completely asleep like humans do, it would sink and drown. So evolution came up with possibly the weirdest solution in all of biology. Dolphins sleep with only half of their brain at a time, a process called unihemispheric slow-wave sleep. One brain hemisphere shuts down and rests while the other stays awake, keeping the dolphin swimming, surfacing to breathe, and watching for predators. Scientists discovered this by monitoring dolphin brain activity while the dolphins rested. They found that one hemisphere would show slow wave patterns associated with deep sleep, while the other hemisphere showed active, awake brain patterns. Even weirder, the eye opposite the sleeping hemisphere closes, while the eye opposite the awake hemisphere stays open and alert. So a resting dolphin literally has one eye open at all times. Imagine trying to sleep like that. This ability gives dolphins some incredible advantages. They can rest continuously while traveling, which is perfect for their nomadic lifestyle. They can sleep while remaining vigilant against sharks and other predators. Mother dolphins with newborn calves barely sleep at all for weeks after birth, keeping both hemispheres more active to protect their vulnerable babies. What dolphins do naturally represents one of the most alien forms of consciousness on our planet. They experience reality in a fundamentally different way than we do, never fully losing awareness. Dolphins have been observed creating elaborate bubble rings for no apparent reason other than entertainment and possibly artistic expression. They do this by releasing air from their blowholes in specific patterns while swimming in spirals, creating perfect toroidal vortex rings of bubbles that hang suspended in the water. Then the dolphins play with these rings, biting them, spinning them, making them larger or smaller. Scientists watching this behavior for the first time couldn't believe what they were seeing. These dolphins weren't feeding or mating. They were just playing with bubbles they'd created, seemingly for pure enjoyment. What makes bubble ring creation so remarkable is the level of control required. Dolphins have to understand fluid dynamics, timing, and three-dimensional spatial relationships to produce these rings successfully. Young dolphins watch adults create bubble rings and practice the technique themselves, gradually improving over time. It's learned behavior that requires skill development, much like a human child learning to draw or play an instrument. Some researchers have documented dolphins creating increasingly complex bubble structures, including helixes and bubble rings inside of other bubble rings. In captivity, they've developed the bubble ring creation into what can only be described as an art form. One researcher described watching a dolphin create a perfect bubble ring, stop to admire it, then deliberately swim through it and immediately create another one, repeating this process dozens of times. The big question this raises is whether dolphins have aesthetic appreciation. Do they find their bubble rings beautiful? If dolphins create art, even simple bubble art, it suggests they have inner lives rich enough to appreciate beauty beyond pure survival needs. They experience boredom and seek entertainment. They find joy in creation. This places them in an extremely exclusive club of animals that might experience something approaching what we call art appreciation. The 5 behaviors we've explored today paint a picture of dolphins that's far stranger and more complex than most people imagine. These aren't just smart animals. They're creatures with culture, individuality, creativity, and possibly even consciousness, similar to our own. The pufferfish drugging shows they can make complex decisions about risk and reward. Their naming system proves they recognize each other as individuals across decades. Their tool use demonstrates cultural transmission of knowledge. Their sleep patterns reveal they experience consciousness in ways we can barely imagine. And their bubble ring creation suggests they might appreciate beauty for its own sake. What's perhaps most humbling is that we're only beginning to understand dolphin behavior. Each answer leads to a dozen new questions. How much do dolphins actually understand about their world? What are they communicating in those complex whistle patterns we can't fully decode? The ocean covers most of our planet, and dolphins have lived there far longer than humans have existed on land. Their intelligence evolved along completely different paths than ours. The next time you see a dolphin, remember that you're looking at something truly extraordinary. An animal that names itself and its friends. A creature that invents tools and teaches its children. A being that experiences altered consciousness and might even create art. Dolphins aren't just smart, they're weird, wonderful, and wonderfully weird in ways that keep surprising scientists. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more deep dives into the strange and fascinating world of marine life. Image generations.